Hi everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on the video, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I came back in today to do a part 2 to a video that I had done the other day. Now, when I originally did that video, I never intended to do a part 2. That video started out as one thing, and then when I was doing the playback and just listening to what I had said, for me, it became something else. So what I was doing with that video was trying to put my opinion out about a subject that had come up here on YouTube, and I wanted to speak on it. But after listening to what I said, I came away with something that I wanted to explore a little bit more. So the video that I did was black gay men versus black women. Now, the topic of that is not what I'm going to talk about today, because I don't want to insinuate myself into a situation that I'm not involved in, so I don't really want to get into that. What I wanted to talk about is a couple of the relationships with the people that I discussed in my video. So there were two that I wanted to come back and talk about, because when I had those relationships, I was very young. And when I did the video and I listened to it back, you know, a lot of memories came up, and I wanted to talk about those memories, because now that I'm older, those memories mean a lot to me. And I'm going to do something on YouTube that I don't know if it's a good idea, but I'm going to just do it. So the first relationship that I talked about in that video, that was a gay relationship that I became aware of. It was when I was 18, and I brought that up in the video, but I didn't really talk about the couple that I had met when I was 18. I mentioned in the video that I met a lesbian couple. They were females, and I worked with one of them. And I mentioned in the video, I was young, I was naive, I didn't really understand what gay was. And in that other video, I explained, eventually I learned, and and how I learned. But when I listened to the video, I mentioned this couple, but I skipped over them. I didn't really tell, my interactions with them there at work and how it affected me. So let me just do that and give them justice, and then I want to go on to the one that I really want to talk about. So when I was 18, I worked at a job. I met a lesbian girl. She was very pretty girl. And if I was 18, she had to be like mid-20s. So I was working at the job first, and she came to work there a little later. And I remember I was really shy at that age. So when I first started working there, the guys that worked there, you know how it's a new girl on the block, they try to flirt with you, but I was so shy, they originally lost interest, because basically they were throwing their game and I didn't know how to catch it. So she came along. Now she's this 25-year-old woman. I still felt like a little high school girl. I thought she was pretty. She wore makeup. I was 18. I really wasn't allowed to wear makeup, only like lip gloss and little stuff like that. You know how you are back then. I'm 51 now. So I thought she was so pretty. And so I remember all the guys there, they were trying to talk to her. And she had been there like 2 weeks. I'll never forget it. She was there the first week, and that first week they were just going at her. And so the second week she came back, she made an announcement. We were sitting in like a little break room, and this guy came up to her and he said something like, "I've been trying to throw, my game at you, and what's wrong with you? I'm the cream of the crop," or something he told her. And she told me, told him, she said, "Well, I'm gay." And she said, he was like, "What did you say?" And she said, to make it very clear, "I'm a lesbian and I don't like guys. So I ignored everything, that you guys were saying to her. So after that, I was standing there, and remember, I said I really didn't understand what gay was. I know that seems weird, especially in this day and age when these kids are so aware of everything, but I grew up in a different time. Basically, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have all this stuff. They weren't talking about this on television, and pretty much back then we stayed within our communities. And in that previous video, I said something that after I listened to it, I kind of cringed. I said, before I met this girl, I had never known a gay person. And I want to clear that up, because I probably did, but they probably had to be in the closet and they couldn't be themselves. So I probably had ran into someone that was gay. I probably just didn't know that they were, because again, remember, I didn't even know what gay was. So after the girl said it, she came back in my area because we kind of worked close together, and I, talked to her, and I really didn't talk about it because I didn't know what gay meant. I just really paid attention to how she was able to shut those guys down when I really couldn't. So, I noticed in the third week they started calling her names and just being mean to her. And then I remember one day her partner came up to the job and she was bringing her some lunch. And then that's when I said, oh, okay, because I saw them kiss. So then I said, oh, lesbian means that you like girls, And so didn't think anything about it. And I didn't want to, I was so young, wouldn't have thought to ask her questions. But at the time, I was still in high school. And I was working there like on the weekends, and I worked there a couple hours during the week. And it came upon a time that I was going to go to prom. And she offered to make my prom dress. Now, all during this time, the guys were just being mean to her. And, I was like, they were like, don't be around her. We don't want you to end up like her. She's going to turn you out. Because I had started liking her. She was really nice. So I ran, when she told me that she knew how to sew and that she would make it, and, she thought I was a pretty little girl and she would like to make me a dress. And she said, tell your mother that there's a seamstress that you work with and that she's offering to make a dress for you, blah, blah, blah. So I went home and told my mother. And my mother was like, who is this person? And I explained to her. So my mother was like, well, we don't really know her and we don't know her work. And she said, and I had already found this little bridal shop. And Rachelle, they have some pretty dresses. And I really prefer for you to go somewhere where we know the dress is going to look right. So, I don't waste my money. So I went back to work and I told her. And, I said, my mom wants to go here, blah, blah, blah. And she just told me, if you need me to make you anything, she was really nice. So that was just a memory I had from my younger years. So I go on. Now I'm 19. I've gone away to college for a year. I come back. And as I mentioned in the other video, I get a job at an office building in the city that I live in. And I'm a little secretary, working, on my summer break, my Christmas break, and whenever I came home on break. So I met this guy, and I tell the whole story in the other video, but I'll quickly run through it in this one because this is the one that changed my life. So I met this guy. Originally, I had a crush on him. All the folks at work were telling me that he was gay. I really didn't know what gay was. I knew what a lesbian was, but I didn't know what gay was. So eventually, I guess it got back to him. Oh, that little girl that, works across from you, she has a crush on you. So he came up to me and basically he told me that he liked boys and that, he was touched that I had a crush on him, but he couldn't believe that I didn't know he was gay. So I guess, at the time, and now that I've thought about this, I have a little bit more memory of some of the things that happened. So some of the things that I said in the first video, I might have to clear it up in this one because as I thought about it, I wanted to get it right. So I said that I was going to do something here on YouTube that, you know, you don't normally do. You know, you do this on Facebook and you know, I'm still trying to figure out, should I do this? I'm going to go ahead because I want to. So in the other video, I didn't give the person's name. It's been about 31, 32 years since I originally met that person, and I never forgot that person. One of my comments in my comment section in the other video, someone subbed to me because they said that I had compassion in my voice, and you know, that they were bisexual, and that they just really felt that I understood. So I'm going to do this right now. So the person that I met, I'm going to say his name. I don't remember his last name because it's been so long, but he made such an impression on my life that I wanted to find him. And the last time I heard anything about him, he was going back to Jamaica. So his name is Harold. And Harold, I don't know if you remember me, but we used to work at a law firm in downtown Cleveland. And I met you, and I just want you to know that if you ever hear this video, you changed my life. Now, my email address is there. I've said my name several times on videos. I have kind of a unique name because, you know, Rachel is what people normally think my name says, but it's actually Rachel. So Harold, this is the little girl that you took under your wing, and you taught me how to be a lady. So I'm just going to tell Harold's story because I think his story and the importance that he did to my life bears telling. Right about this time when we're having all this stuff with gay men, and I just wanted to explore that story a little bit more. So I don't want to go back over a lot of what I said in the other video of how I met him, you know, how we came to be, but I started talking about how he would tell me different things about being a lady. When I met him, I was incredibly shy. And I mean shy when it came to guys. So Harold would always say, oh, you're a cute little girl, you just don't know it, and if you fix yourself up, you know. And he was Jamaican, he had this little cute accent. But I remember, as I said in the other video, he knew how to put on makeup like a makeup artist. I mean, he would make you up. I was like his little doll, actually. He would sit and do hairstyles on me, do my makeup, and all while he's doing this, he's talking to me, teaching me like how to be a lady. And I don't mean in the feminine sense. I mean like about makeup, and you know, why he talked about, oh, you have these beautiful eyebrows, you need to do something with it, honey. I'm trying to imitate his little Jamaican accent. I remember even he taught me about clothes. Like, he would look at me and he would say, Rachelle, you're so little. He told me that because I'm so short, that my legs were as long as his arms. So one day he told me, he said, I had on we were going to go out because, as I mentioned in the other video, me and him used to hit the clubs together. I used to want to go out, and I was young and I really couldn't go down, you know, by myself. So he was my escort if I didn't have a boyfriend. So I remember I took my clothes over his house. I had been to the mall, and, you know, I bought me some stuff that I thought was cute. And so I went over his house, and, you know, I always got dressed over there. And I remember he looked at my clothes and he was like, you're wearing that? You need to slay when you're with me. So I was like, well, I thought I was slaying. You know, you're going to put my makeup on. So once you put my makeup on and do my hair, I'm going to be looking good. He was not with those rags, you're not. So what he did is he told me, he said, Rachelle, you have short legs. Now, a little pencil skirt that I had bought, it came to like my knees. So he was like, with those short legs, you need to pull the dress up a little bit more. You need to have it mid-thigh, or, show the legs, slay. He used to say runway. Back then, they didn't use all these terms that they use now. So I'm using, what we said back in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay, I'm old. So he went and got some scissors and cut my skirt. And I was like, oh my God. No, he didn't. This skirt still has the tags on it. So he cut off like probably 4 inches off the bottom. And he told me that in the rest of your life, you never wear a skirt longer than this. Never. You don't have the legs for it. You just don't. Your legs are shapely, but you just can't wear the longer dresses. He told me it made me look like I was standing in mud. So I was kind of mad. And I said, are you sure? He hemmed up my skirt. And then he told me that it was too loose. And he stood and sewed me in the skirt, now that I think about it. So we get dressed, and he said, trust me, you'll meet your future husband tonight. You're out with me. So we go out, we have fun. I didn't meet my future husband. But the reason why I bring him up is I watch the news now, and I see all these stories about people just like going in on gay people. I just don't get it. Now, I know it's all this religious aspect to it, and back in the 90s, when AIDS and all that stuff came out, and they thought it was a gay disease, and all of that. And then we got past that, and we realized that any person walking the earth could have that. But I always thought about, whenever I hear these stories, whenever we're having an uprising, when gay people were fighting for their rights to marry, I would always go back and think, I wonder, is Harold somewhere married now? Or like this nightclub shooting, and I hope wherever Harold is, he's okay. Because that relationship that I talked about in my other video that ran 7+ years, I realize now that he was, in his own little way, teaching me to be tolerant. And I didn't know that that's what he was doing because I was so young. I talked about in the other video that once I befriended him and I got over that he wasn't going to like me back, because remember, in the beginning, I thought he was, I thought I had a crush on him. So after that, I was determined that we were going to be friends. So basically, whenever I was home from college on a break, I hung out with him. I went over, he would have a house full of gay men, and I would just be there, sucking up all of this knowledge on their lives. I would sit there because, they were older than me, so I couldn't really join in and give my experiences on life. So I kind of sat back, a student at their feet, listening. Not literally, but, figuratively. I would sit at the table and they would be cooking and just talking. And Harold tells this story that he was Miss Gay Jamaica. He told it so true. Maybe he was. I didn't even know they had a pageant down there. So if anybody knows of a Harold he claims he was the winner of Miss Gay Jamaica, tell him Rachel is looking for him. But I would sit back and just listen to them tell stories and talk about their lives. They would cry together. They talked about boyfriends and, that their man wasn't treating them right. They talked about paying bills and, they're saving money to do this. So in the other video, I just mentioned that I just saw them as just, like regular people. Once I got past, the different personalities, like in Harold's group of friends, we had a friend that was like the father, or I guess in this case the mother. Like this gay guy was older, so basically they kind of all looked to him and respected him. Then we had the one that was real flamboyant. My friend Harold kind of fell into that, but there was one even more flamboyant than him. Then we had the one that he had to be straight at work, but on the weekend, you know, he would, I guess, hit the clubs. And then we just had all different types in this group of friends that I had become a part of. And I remember that I used to go home because I was so, and I want to make sure I use the right word here, I was so smitten with Harold and his whole life, and how he had took me in and would go you know, shopping for clothes, and then we would go do things together, that when I would be at home, I would be like, Harold said this and Harold said that, and do you know Harold does this, and Harold went here and Harold went there, and Harold. So I remember my mother was like, who is this Harold that you're talking about? And I said, well, I met this guy at work. And so my mother piped up because she's thinking I met a boyfriend. And I said, no, 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 he's gay. And so my mother said, oh, you're hanging out with a gay guy? And I said, yeah. And my mother was like, oh, okay. And she was like, is he nice? Is he safe? Never. And one thing I'll say about my mother, I guess my mother was really open now that I think about it, because she never said anything. She didn't even miss a beat. She just wanted to make sure, because when I told her he was 27 or 28, and at the time I was only 19, my mother was like, well, I want to meet him. She said, because you've been going out with him a lot lately when you come home, and I just want to meet him, you know, the fella, make sure, you know, he's a nice guy. So I brought him over. My mother met him, and, you know, she didn't seem to have a problem with him. You know, he toned down his stuff because he knew he was going home to meet my mother, and basically assured my mother that, you know, when I'm with him, he's gonna make sure I'm okay. I mentioned in the other video that I went to the gay club with him. And I remember, because I didn't really expand on when I went to the gay club with him. So he dressed me all up, had me looking like a runway model, because when he got finished nipping and tucking and powdering and buffing and whatever, I don't think he could have done anything else. I don't think Tyra Banks had anything on me when he got done with me. But we went to this gay club, and then I asked him, I said, Harold, well, is anyone going to ask me to dance? He said, not to worry. You're a beauty queen. You'll get a chance. They won't want you, but they'll dance. You know, we love to dance, us gays. So we just laughed, and we went in, and I danced with him. I danced with his friends. I danced with everybody. I danced so much that I was like, Lord, I need to go sit down. They are very happy in here. And I just sat back and I watched. And then I would get up and go dance. You could barely stand up, because you will stand up and someone would just grab you and run out to the floor and dance. It just seemed so happy there. So I frequented the gay bar with him quite a bit. It got to the point where I preferred to go there, because when I went there, it was just fun, and I don't know, it just was fun. I was like slowly being pulled into this world that I had never seen. So it was fun. So as I mentioned in the other video, you know, because Harold was my best friend, I spent a lot of time with him. I came to him when I had little boyfriend breakups, and Harold, he said this and he did this and he's cheating. And as time went on, I think I became, for him, his little sister, because when I would tell him stories about little heartbreaks, he would come all out that gay stuff, and he would say, look, do you want me to go beat him up for you? And then I would be laughing, and that sounded bad when I say he would come out of all that gay stuff. In other words, his protective side would kick in, and he would let me know, don't think because I got these dresses and these capes and all these hats and these fur coats that I won't come out of it and whoop somebody's ass for you. And I remember when I met what was going to be my husband, and I remember I went to Harold and I said, oh my God, Harold. And he said what I said. I saw this guy. I said, when I looked across the room, I said I heard like fireworks, and I'm telling him all this story, and he was like, he wasn't impressed. He was just sitting there following his nails. He was like, well, you know, you're going to have to run him past me, because if he doesn't meet my standards, we're not going to have that. Now, we're not going to have it. So And I know this is unbelievable. So Harold asked me, when are you going on your first date with him? And I told him when, and he said he was going with me. And he actually did. He went on our first date with us. So imagine the guy, he actually picked me up from Harold's house, and Harold let him know he was going. So, you know, when we were alone, he said, who is this guy? Is this like your brother or something? And then I said, because the guy was so confused. So I said, well, no, this is my best friend. And he was like, okay. He was like, is he gay? And I said, and you know, he was a straight guy, so he didn't say it that nice. He said, is that motherfucker gay? And I said, well, yes, he is. And he was like, you know, he didn't want him around. And like I said in my other video, I told him, you know, let me just get this straight. I said, I knew him before I knew you. He is a good friend, and nothing and no one is going to stop us from being friends, because I always figured, you know, men come and go, but girlfriends are forever. And Harold was my girlfriend. So when Harold came back, Harold was acting a fool. And what I mean by that is he was flirting with him. And so then I looked at him. I was like, Harold. And he was like, look, I was just checking. and then when we got back to his house, he said, Rachel, I didn't mean any harm. I could tell he was uncomfortable, and you guys are young, and I just wanted to mess with him and make him even more uncomfortable. And then he told me, don't think that I can't take him from, you know, joking with me. And he would always joke like that. So eventually when Harold knew that, you know, this was getting serious with me and the guy, and I started telling Harold, I said, you know, he doesn't believe you're gay. And then I said, and Harold said, why? I said, because, you know, I said, Harold, you know how we do our Saturday nights where we all hang out? Because like every Saturday that I was home, I would go out with him and his friends. I said, at one time, you know, I knew it was this special night, like maybe every fourth Thursday at the club, maybe they did like Caribbean night, or no, what was it that they used to do? Oh my gosh. It was Latin night. And because it was so fun, I was like, it was a choice between hanging out with this new guy that I met or going to Latin night at their club. So I had told the guy that I met that eventually became my husband. I was like, oh, no. I can't hang with you tonight. Tonight is Latin night. And he was like, at the gay club? You'd rather hang with them than me? And I was thinking, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but actually I do. So at that time, he said, I don't think he's gay. I think you and him are having a relationship, because every time I call you and every time I talk to you, you're talking about this Harold, or you're over this Harold's house. So eventually, I guess he realized that, you know, Harold was gay, and I guess eventually he became, I'm not going to say comfortable, but accepting of me and Harold's friendship, because he really knew that he couldn't break it up. So I started this video by saying that Harold meant a lot to me. I realize now that because I knew him from about 19 to, I was probably like 26, 27 or so. And I just learned a lot from him, a lot. And I said in my other video, because I had that friendship with him, I've always been a woman that has every job that I go on, every place that I ever worked at. I'm not going to say I go in the first day and I'm like, is there a gay man here? But I always kind of gravitate towards them. Like, I work in the travel industry, and in our industry, well, I used to anyway, not in that anymore, but in that industry, there were a lot of gay men. So I was in heaven. You know, I would go out with them on Fridays, hang out, and just be friends with them. Okay, I moved out of the travel industry. I ended up at another job, and I always seemed to end up friends with the gay guys. So I don't know what that is, but I attribute that all to Harold, because I guess he opened my eyes to something, and I explained in the other video why, like, when I'm in a group of women, that I'm always a little, I don't fully give who all Rachel can be as a girlfriend. Like I like when I'm around their men, I don't really, do a lot of talking. I don't let them into my personal space with my man, because my mother has always told me, you don't tell your girlfriends all your stuff about your man. And then Harold, went on to explain, your mother takes you so far, but your best girlfriend explains why. And Harold would tell me, you never let a bitch up in your business. And I remember he used to have me do these tests. I used to tell him that I was shy and I didn't know how to talk to men. And Harold would give you being sexy tips, I guess. He was like a black Marilyn Monroe. He was like, pout your lips, my darling. He would say, like, when the man comes up to you, use those beautiful bedroom eyes that you have. And so I would be like, what? Because remember, I'm only 19. I don't know about all this. So he would say, you got that one eyebrow that you can put up? You know how you make your one eyebrow go up like that? So I was like, what do you mean? He says, whenever you get angry or you're concentrating, I know that you notice that you put one of your eyebrows up. And so I said, really? And he was like, when a man is talking to you, lean near to him and you talk to him, pout your lips and put that eyebrow, make him come into your space. He just was something else. He wanted you to walk like this when you put on heels. Oh, you walk like a cowboy. Let me show you how to walk the runway, my darling. And then he would get up and walk across the room and tell me, sashay, he was so much fun. It was so much fun. So I did this video and I just wanted to, I guess, first of all, see if I can find Harold wherever he is. And secondly, just to say, sometimes, I just see all this stuff on television. And I even teach my kids, like, I know one day my son had said something kind of negative. And he was talking about Sodom and Gomorrah and all that. And it just burned me. And I told him, I said, well, you know what, Scott? It is God's decision. It's not ours here on this earth. It's just not. And I told him, I said, let me just give you an example of what I mean. I said, the very Bible that you're quoting, 250, 300 years ago, someone used that Bible to condemn us also. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, do you know that back in slavery, they would find scriptures in the Bible that fit what they were doing to us? I said, and in their minds, it was so right. It was okay to hang us from trees and, rape the women and take our babies away, because the Bible told them that it was okay to have slaves. They owned them. I said, and so whatever that they wanted to do to us, it was okay. I said, I cannot condemn someone by what that book says. I said, and I told him my whole thing about sin and what I believe is sin, and whose sin is weightier than the other. And I gave all that in the other video, and I don't want to go through it and make this video any longer. But again, I just wanted to say that sometimes people, we need to just understand that we were all put here on this earth. If you believe in God and you believe that there's a higher power, do you think that there was a different God that created them? And what business is it of ours who they sleep with? Is that the most important thing about them that, we should worry? No one, as heterosexuals, they don't really question who we sleep with. Hey, we got pedophiles that are heterosexual. We got wife beaters that are heterosexual. Those are sins. If you're trying to go somewhere and rape a kid, that's a sin. If you're beating your wife and dragging her out in the street, that's a sin. I mean, should you, we got men that kill their wives. All of those are sins. I just don't understand why people Like this guy that went in and shot up this whole club. So does he actually think that by him going in there killing up all of, and as I'm sitting here, I'm watching in my city today, they're having the gay pride parade. I will try to drive through and show my support. But I'm getting back to that club. Did he actually think that he's going to get in heaven after he's killed 49 people and wounded 53 others? So he's going to get to the gates and God is going to say, welcome, my brother. Welcome. Good job. Good job. Isn't one of the commandments, thou shalt not kill? God is going to say, what? Who's at the door? Oh, bolt the lock. We not letting him in. That's crazy. You go in there and you mow down these people like, I just don't understand it. I'm going to get off. I think I was all over the place, but I just wanted to do a part 2 of that other video. And this video is all in honor of my gay sister that I met when I was 19 and who I've never forgotten. You know, some people come into your life for a reason. And maybe Harold was sent to me to teach me some things. He taught me how to be a lady, how to put on makeup, how to slay, as he says, how to walk in heels, how to what length of skirt I should wear, how I should flirt with a man. I mean, really, he taught me how to flirt with men. My girlfriends weren't teaching me that because they would do you think my girlfriends would teach me how to flirt and we all single and I get the man because now I'm a flirt expert? So, I thank Harold wherever he is. And then I'm just going to say one more time, Harold, the chances of you ever hearing this is very slim. But if anyone knows a Harold that worked at a law firm, about 31 years ago, 32 years ago, that's a long time. People they're going to be like, girl, look. But I was a little chocolate girl down there. You met me. I had a crush on you. And you told me that you were gay and laughed at me and picked me up along and took me on the ride of your life. So I just want to say, if you ever hear this and just say you don't ever contact me, I just wanted to let you know that you made a very, very good impression on my life. And I've never forgotten you. I've told my children about you. When you were there, you knew that I was married. You knew that I was pregnant. You know all that, but you never got a chance to see what happened afterwards. So, Harold, if you ever hear this, email me. And we can probably get to talk or something. So people, I'm going to get out of here. I know I've been running my mouth for too long, but that's my experience with gay men. Just give them a chance. Just give all of them a chance. They're people just like us. God made them just like they made us. And I'm going to tell you, for the people who are going to come on this page and be mean, I don't want that. If you don't like what I'm talking about, that's your fucking problem. But don't come on this page leaving bad stuff, mean stuff, or telling me about what the Bible says, because I don't want to fucking hear it. You take your Bible and you stay over in your lane and let us over here who are accepting stay in our lane. That's all I ask. So with that, I got to get back to my nice self. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.